Rock 108. Hey, it's Ned hanging out here. Rock USA, probably going to be my favorite interview of this entire weekend and a huge inspiration to my rock life. I am hanging out here with Mike Wengren of Disturbed. How's
What's
it going,
up?
Man? So excited to be meeting you, man. So I want to shake your hand one more time.
My
there
pleasure.
we go. We've made a connection now. So I do have to share this with you. The first time that I ever really got into Disturbed was the Believe album. I mean, I heard, Down with the Sickness, big hit, all the drums and whatnot, but I was on a trip to Cedar Point in Ohio.
Okay.
And my friend who's the cameraman right now, we were both going there, and the big album at the time for me was American Idiot by Green Day. And he's like, Ned, you have to listen to this album. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't really like heavy metal too much, He's like, no, just listen to this. I didn't listen to American Idiot for the rest of the weekend. It was prayer nonstop. And I just kept going and going, and that was the defining moment of my life when it came to Disturbed.
Awesome.
So
You introed him to this? Thank you very much.
So it's been an absolute love fest since then. So there you go. I got the fangirling out of the way there, so we're all good on that end, man.
Sweet.
So you guys have the Evolution Tour happening pretty much right now, taking out Pop Evil in this moment on a few dates as well, too. You have them coming to Cedar Rapids, where we're from, on October 9th, man. So looking forward to that.
Us too.
Absolutely. Now, one of my favorite things that happened to you recently was in a venue, Grand Rapids, Michigan, that you had so much fire on the stage, you almost passed out. How did that kind of happen? I mean, like, what were you feeling like when all the fire was going around you? Were you just like, I'm about to pass out, man, or what?
No, you know what? Actually, the fire is actually a little bit. The pyro's a little more toned down.
Oh yeah.
On this, it's a little more selective this touring cycle than it was on the last cycle. Last one was more bombastic.
Yeah.
This definitely is pyro, but they're more focused and key points.
Yeah.
And it's some pretty special moments. What you're probably talking about is during inside the fire when the fire drops from the ceiling and we're surrounded by it. It's just about as primal as it gets.
Yeah,
we're up there, we're doing the song, and it's fire, fire, fire. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
It's like I feel like Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway. It's like I have created fire. It's
dancing around.
it's freaking awesome.
Just whip off your shirt, man. Start throwing volleyballs
I
around.
want to get
We'll
Wilson
get it.
and put him right next to me.
Yeah, dude. That'd be awesome. Now, I'm a big tattoo fan of myself. I'm hoping to get a sleeve at some point in my life of just all video games. What would you say is the favorite tattoo that you have on you?
I actually have so many especially a bunch of them I got recently. I have one on my leg that I just got a few months ago. It's of my brother who passed away about three and a half years ago.
Oh wow, that's cool, man. It's a good tribute, dude. There's one tattoo that Parkway Drive, the lead singer of Parkway Drive, Winston, I was like, what's your favorite tattoo? And he pulled up his leg, put it right on me. He's like, it's a Waffle House tattoo right there. I'm like, you have Waffle House tattooed on you, man? So
That's dedication.
yeah, absolutely.
You must love them hash browns.
Oh, dude, that all-American breakfast, all good.
I love it too.
Well, I mean, being from the Midwest, hey, the Waffle House, we unfortunately have that a little more south. There's no Waffle House up in Wisconsin.
There is no Waffle House. They just don't get it here.
Very disappointing.
Too much cheese for the waffle, I think.
That's true, man. So if you were to pick a good breakfast food, what's your go-to breakfast food?
A breakfast food or breakfast place?
We'll do both. How about that?
Do you guys got George Webb's up here? Because down in the Milwaukee area, it's all George Webb's. It's like
No,
this
I don't
chain
have George Webb's.
of
What's that,
cheap,
George Webb's?
crummy diner stuff. And it's usually like that's where you go when the bars close.
Yeah, the greasy spoon, man.
You usually get into a fight because somebody's too drunk on the table next to you
Yeah,
and whatever.
Yeah, those are back in my old college days. But in Detroit area, Michigan, where I'm originally from in that area, it's Coney Island. You go there, you get a Coney dog of just cheese and chili and fries.
Sounds awesome.
Just deathly.
I love it.
Well, okay, well, in that case, what's your favorite breakfast food then?
I'm a simple scrambled eggs guy, man. Just scrambled eggs and hash browns. I'm easy. I love breakfast food though, so just about any kind of breakfast is good with me.
It's the only kind of food that we ever need in our lives.
24/7 for me. It's the most important meal of the day.
It is, man. You get your vitamins, you're ready to go and start drumming and not get burned by inside the fire.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So Evolution, big album right now, and I mean it's just going crazy everywhere. Can't wait for the tour to stop by Iowa naturally. And the big elephant in the room obviously is the success that you guys just knocked out of the park with Sound of Silence. And there's a few albums that you've had where you've done different covers, Shout 2000 and whatnot too, but when it goes into picking a cover, how do you pick one?
It gets more and more challenging for us. We like to put our own stamp on it. Like to try and put a little twist to it.
Yeah.
Put our own stamp. Like you mentioned, we had a few covers in the earlier years with Shout 2000, Land of Confusion. And those are great songs for us. You know, we
Yeah.
put the heavy stamp on it, and we were in the studio doing the Immortalized record, and we were throwing ideas out for months, and nothing was coming to us. And I suggested Simon and Garfunkel. And the guys thought it was an intriguing choice. Asked me, okay, well, what song? I mentioned Sound of Silence, and they thought it was a great idea. Then Dan had to one-up me and say, you know what? Not only is it a cool idea, but let's do it an orchestral version.
Yeah.
Something totally left field and out of the box for us, and boom, there you have it.
Man, that's just, and obviously it worked out pretty well. I mean, even top 40 stations were playing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're being played along with all these big top 40 hits, and all of a sudden they're like, and Disturbed. I'm like, whoa.
It finally put us on the radar for like the grandparents and the kids.
Yeah.
Like the grandparents were like, "Oh wow, like they actually made it now because they played a song that they knew."
Yeah.
And then my kids, even though it wasn't our version of it, when the movie Trolls came out, and it's an animated movie,
Yeah.
there's a little clip of it in there where they sing it, and my kids are like, "Oh, that's Daddy's song." So, yeah.
That's cool. That's got to feel good seeing the kids just like, oh, yeah, all right. And I mean, you have all these huge albums, and they recognize Trolls. Like,
Exactly right.
yeah. I mean, so being with the kids and whatnot, how do you balance that kind of family life and obviously the extraneous touring life that you have?
It gets very challenging. It feels like I'm living double lives sometimes.
Yeah.
Today was tough. We had to say goodbye to the families and start off the next 3 weeks. Today's the first of that. But, you just make it count. When we're out here, we're going to be away from them. We're out there. It gives us extra motivation on stage to go out there and tear it up. And then when we go home, we make sure we just, put in the time, and it's all daddy time then.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So when you're out on tour doing the thing and having fun and whatnot, what are you doing, like, on the bus? Are you a game player, a movie watcher, or just kind of, like, relaxing, sitting back?
The bus is usually kind of a chill thing. After the show, there's usually a drink or two to be had. Depending on the night, there could be even more.
Yeah.
Movies usually, satellite when we can get it. Yeah, just anything to pass the time. David's more of the gamer. I don't think none of us are really gamers. So sometimes I've seen him bring his own PlayStation with it in his backpack. We'll go to the airport security, and he's got to pull out his laptop and his PS3.
Yeah, so he's just spending time playing Halo or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think he likes those first-person shooter games. Is that what they call them?
Those are the big things right now. Call of Duty, all of that stuff and whatnot. I mean, it's just a massive world when it comes down to it. So back to Evolution, though. I mean, No More is a big hit. A Reason to Fight, huge hit. I mean, every single album that you guys have released, it's always had at least 3 or 4 huge hits on it. You're just like these churners. So when I think about these big hits and these big songs, I think about the next generation of what they call classic rock. So what would you say would be some of those bands? And I'm including you on this, by the way. When I think of like those next big one, like the next Leonard Skinner, the next ZZ Top or whatever, I think of Disturbed, Shinedown, and I had another one in my head. But let's just go with Disturbed and Shinedown right now. Do you have anyone on your mind that might be considered that next generation?
At this
classic rock.
At this point, I think it's just a blessing for us that 20 years later, we still have a great career, and we're still building and climbing, and it's great for us to see new generations come out. People who have been coming to the shows for the last 20 years are bringing their kids now, and hopefully we'll be around for another 20 years or more.
I think you're going to do all right on that. I think you'll be around for quite some time now. So
keep doing it until I can't do it anymore.
Absolutely. I'll wrap this up with the last question. I always like to ask this to big band members and whatnot. What's the, aside from playing in Disturbed, obviously, but what's the best concert that you personally ever attended in your entire life?
Oh, man. There's so many. I've been so fortunate to see so many concerts, but the one that just stuck out in my head right now is Dan and I actually went to it, and it was in Chicago at the Aragon Ballroom, and it was Type O Negative with Pantera was the headliners that night, and we hadn't gotten signed yet, but but Disturbed had just recently formed within the last year or so. This is going back to 96-ish, and the first note comes out, and we just stood there, and our faces like blew off, and we just looked at each other like the power of that music, and just said, one day, like, we felt we had the music, and we had like the vibe going with our band. If we could get that behind us, maybe someday we could make it.
And that's where it all started. We owe it to Type O Negative and Pantera.
Hell yeah.
The day he was hanging out at that show. Mike, man, it's such a pleasure to hang out with
My
you.
pleasure
Man.
is with you as well.
Thank you so much. And be sure to pick up Disturbed's album, Evolution. Check them out on tour, especially as Rock 108 presents them along within this moment at the USL Center, October 9th. Get your tickets and have some fun and hang out with Mike. Be a good time. It's Ned from Rock 108.